It can be a really intimidating process and a vulnerable experience when showing up as your full expression of yourself, not what somebody else thinks that you should look like, but what you want to look like for the world to see.
This shoot was so me. Like, the number one feedback that I've gotten is like, oh my God, Sarah, this is so you. It's so much more than about just the beautiful, epic branding photos that you'll have at the end of it. It's also about who you become and the fun that you have in the process.
You're committing, and the universe notices that, and the people notice that. Also influences how you show up in your business, which is really, really huge. Because today I'm here with Sarah, and hey Sarah, what's up, girl?
Hi Nicole. Hi.
And we're just like co-collaborating on our podcast. So she has a podcast called
The Audacity with Sarah Plowman.
Amazing. And I have a podcast called Joy Makers with Nichole Howard. And we both were like, yeah, we just had collaborated on a really awesome experience. I just shot Sarah's third personal brand photo shoot together with her in Philly last week.
Week ago today.
Today. That's insane. And we had spent like a lot of time preparing for this. And so we wanted to jump on here because we were just boxing after the shoot. Actually, I think it was literally like Saturday, the following day after. And we had this aha moment together, and we were like, that was such an expansive experience. And it had just showcased so much of our growth that we just like needed to talk about it, because you've probably seen personal brand photo shoots out there. You probably heard of a personal brand. You maybe have even had a photo shoot yourself, but it may not have had the impact that it could potentially have, or be as expansive as is possible. So this, I know for us, was incredibly expansive. And so, yeah, we're here today talking about it and just chit-chatting and riffing. We're going to give you some prep on how to prep your mindset, how to prep your strategy for the shoot, some fun behind the scenes stuff that happened, and some like other amazing jewels along the way. Yeah.
So good. Yeah. We just want to pull the curtain back and like let everyone in on the kind of conversations that we have and the relationship that we've built over the last couple of years, and these 3 now photo shoots, and the evolution of our relationship, the process. And I was reflecting on even the term brand, like brand photo shoot, and how intimidating that can be, and how intimidating it was, in fact, for me. I have to share, I'll share in the show notes, but the first ever branding shoot that I did, and I was wearing like a white tank top and a blue blazer, and it was this real like corporate-y kind of headshot, which is funny because I've never had a corporate job in my life, but it was like what I thought like a branding shoot should look like. And then I started seeing other examples online, and I was just like, how do I know what my brand, it can sound really overwhelming, right? When you're like, what does that mean? And how do I decide ahead of time what my brand is? But this process with you, Nichole, has been such a journey, and it's been such a beautiful unfolding of me as a woman, as a business owner, a mentor, and as my brand. So yeah, we need to talk about it.
We need to break it down. Let's break it down. So let's start with some of the mindset stuff going into it, because like you just said, it can be a really like intimidating process and a vulnerable experience when showing up as your full expression of yourself, not what somebody else thinks that you should look like, but what you want to look like for the world to see. And I think it's really cool because we're both human design, like we understand human design, we know what it is, so we're both generators. So for us, like we have to follow our joy. And the thought of being somebody else and putting myself in like corporate suit, that navy blue. I have like a similar experience actually, because I've done brand shoots myself, because we all need them. It was awful. It was like more of a headshot, but it was terrible. I was in a cobalt blue blazer from Express, I think. And it barely fit me. And I was wearing like a white button down underneath. It was awful. I don't even understand what I was thinking. And these photos, they were not it. But I ended up using one as my LinkedIn profile because I was like, whatever, I just already went and did this. I think I spent like $99 on it in like 2017. I don't know. And I had this like one image and it was like not me. Oh, yeah, let's talk about like, the strategy behind that. So I'm actually curious to hear from you, Sarah, because you're so great in this area, how you approached, once you had that first shoot where you're like, this isn't me, What made you decide to kind of shift and go, you know what, I'm going to be a little more vulnerable now. I'm going to show up a little more as myself. Like, kind of what was that like for you?
Yeah, well, it definitely took time. It didn't happen overnight. And before you and I started shooting together, which again this is our third photo shoot, I think I had done 2 or 3 other ones. So this is now overall I've done 6, 7, 8. But you're jogging my memory. One of the earlier ones, I was so intimidated to pick out my outfits for the shoot. And I've never had anyone else style me for the shoot. So I've always picked out my outfits. But I was so afraid and like not trusting myself to know what to choose to wear that I waited until the night before the photo shoot, like late at night before. Because I didn't want to face it. It was such a stressful situation because I thought, what if, I don't even know if I was aware of all of the fear thoughts that were running through my head. But one of the biggest limiting beliefs was I'm not a stylist, or I'm not good at this, or I'm not creative. I have had that thought about myself, which is really ironic because I've always loved fashion. And in fact, it turns out I am very fucking creative.
Yeah, I love your outfits. They look phenomenal.
I know. And like now that I've unleashed my creativity, like the way my house is decorated and my taste in music, I'm a poet, like my content that I create in my business. I am so creative. But for most of my life, I told myself that I wasn't. And it was impacting these photo shoots because I was so afraid of what the photos would look like that I would just procrastinate and then throw together a whatever outfit the night before. And so the photos were not nearly as great as they could be. I also was afraid of not being perfect. So one thing that I've gotten really so much better at, and you've helped me, is we look at images beforehand. We look at poses beforehand. And so I have an opportunity to think about them and to practice them and really spend time crafting like the vision. And I wouldn't let myself do that before because I was afraid it wouldn't be good enough. So I just stuck my head in the sand and avoided it altogether.
I want to break this down so much. Okay, so juicy. And it's funny because all of us flows together on like what to do and how to prepare. And you like just talked about, I hate to say it, but what not to do.
Exactly. I know.
I think it's so important because when people come to me, so I've served a lot of women. That is my main niche. I help female entrepreneurs grow their personal brands, really tell their visual stories through personal branding images. And so one of the things when they come to me, they're like, I just need some photos. And I'm like, no, you don't. I was like, you need a little strategy, and that's okay. And I'm going to help you with it because you don't just want a photo, you want the photo. There is a distinct difference in those two things. So one of the things that I do, and you've gone through this process, is I send a questionnaire in advance. Now, we've gone through so many shoots at this point, like we don't even need to have the questionnaire. We just jump on a call and we like talk about it. But it's like, okay, if you're first starting out in this, here are the questions you need to be asking yourself in order to prepare. And of course, one of those questions is style, because I say there are at least 4 tenets to a great personal brand photo. And one of them is, what are you wearing? The second one is, where are you shooting? The third thing is, how are you posed? And the fourth is, what props do you have? And all of those things contribute to a great photo. And if you're sticking your head in the sand and not thinking about those things and not coming prepared with those things, that is going to impact your final result. So I like to make sure my clients feel so supported, so seen, so held through that experience, because I know that that's going to impact the final results. So I think it would be cool to actually share. So for your audience, let's share your Pinterest board.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And while you're pulling that up, I want to say like something that I want to remind everyone of, because I hear this all the time from my clients, and maybe you do too, that when you start asking those questions, like what is your style? What kind of props do you want? Like a lot of times my clients will say, I don't know.
Yes.
And that is never true. I don't know is a protective shield that is protecting you falsely from judgment. And really, we think it's other people's judgment, but it's our judgment. So this shoot was so me. Like the number one feedback that I've gotten as I've shared the behind the scenes, like teased some images, it's like, oh my God, Sarah, this is so you, right? Which is the highest compliment that I could possibly get, because we nailed the vision so much. And in order to have it be such a reflection of me, I had to be honest with myself about what my style is, where I wanted to be, that I wanted to have an audience in front of me and not judge what I wanted, and just like let myself have an opinion and not judge it.
100%. And I love that you said that when you say you don't know, you actually do. Because I find that to be extremely true. And I think I've heard that before years ago. And it was like such an aha moment for me when somebody said that. And I was like, oh, you're right. I do know.
You do know.
I do know.
It's literally just judgment. If I don't know protects you from like looking at what the real answer is and you're judgmental thoughts about it.
Yeah, so true. So let's look at the visuals real quick.
For the people who are listening to this audio only, I know there's going to be a visual component on YouTube that you can check out. But let's tell the people, what are we looking at here?
So what we did together was, and the cool thing about this prep, right? And I think this is the best part to hear too. And if you guys cannot see this, we're just going to pop the link in the show notes so you can see what a potential vision board could look like for you. So basically, the reason why I wanted to share this too is because it's inspiration. So your visuals will not look exactly like these, but it gets you to start to think about, well, what could it look like? That's fun. And maybe I want that, but like with a little twist of like my style, or like a spotlight on the legs, or like whatever, right? You know what I mean? And so, yeah, so you start to kind of play with it. So it's really just like, it's play.
Yeah, Nichole, I'm looking at the Pinterest board right now, and there's an image of a woman with her leg in the air wearing a cool high heel, and she's pouring a glass of wine. Can you tell the people our spin that we put on this image for the last photo shoot?
I love this so much. Okay, we had Sarah on her back. It was like a heightened white block that was in the studio, and she did amazing. She had her legs up in the air. I told her how to pose them. We had these awesome black heels with like this little poof on them, and then I had a spotlight just going right at her legs, so that's all you could see. And then we had her take her one foot, and so basically like we had a crystal glass taped to her foot.
Yeah, we literally duct taped it to my shoe.
We had one of our team members on site, because we had several team members on site helping us with this shoot, pouring kombucha into the glass. And it's so freaking cool. It looks awesome. I cannot wait to share that image. And yeah, it gives, again, it talks to Sarah's representation of this, because she doesn't drink. Right? But you still love a pretty glass and a pretty drink. So like, yeah, like a non-alcoholic beverage. Cool, let's put our spin on it. And then your awesome shoes and the spotlights, completely different lighting. But again, still telling your story using the inspiration.
Yeah, and that's really what a brand is. It's just things that you love, things that are true to you. Yes. So like Nichole said,
a personal brand. Yes.
Yeah, a personal brand, exactly. So I don't drink alcohol, and so kombucha. We did that at the last shoot too. So this is like it's a theme that's been carrying on. This time, I think last time I was holding it up with my feet in the air.
Last time you had your arms up in the air, and you had like a fluffy jacket on.
Yes.
And you had different shoes and like no spotlight. It was like similar but very different.
Yeah, so this was like taking it up a level, and that moment was so funny because the like champagne coupe, which also is something that I always drink out of. Like I drink out of those at home, and when I go to the Four Seasons bar all the time, and I order bottles of water, and they know me now. They always hand it to me in like a champagne coupe. But we taped it.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They know it. They're like, here she comes, the bottle of water and a champagne coupe. It's so fun.
I love everything about that. It's so beautiful. And I love how you're just like so unapologetic about it, which I think so many more of us should really like embrace that feeling of just being like unapologetically ourselves. Like it's not going to hurt anybody's feelings if you're using a champagne coupe with your water.
And in fact, like the thing is that we get so self-conscious about things like that. Like what does the bartender think? Or what are the other people at the bar going to think?
They don't care. Or they think it's cool.
Or they think it's cool. More often than not, they think it's so fucking badass. I have had so many people come up to me, like when I'm in that scenario, and ask if they can buy me a drink. And I'm like, you can buy me a bottle of water. And they cannot believe that I'm there on a Friday night at 11 o'clock drinking water. It blows their mind. And then they're like, respect. That's amazing.
Yeah, like all the real ones know. All the real ones know.
They do. They do.
I love that.
And we had to embrace that to like for shoot day too, because we were out on the streets of Philadelphia taking up space.
I was literally about to say that. It was like a perfect segue.
Yeah, set the scene, my friend.
So, okay. So we are in front of the W Hotel, and we are in Philly. There are 3 other weddings happening that day. So we are right by the valet. There's other people outside in a crowd. Like there's like a lot going on in front of the entrance to this hotel.
Yeah, it's like rush hour on a Friday.
Yeah, there are rose petals strewn on the sidewalks. We're like, oh, those are for Sarah, naturally. Yeah, I think they were.
They were.
We're going to say they were. There was so much like backup. Like I had my assistant go get my car out of the garage that was like around the corner. It took her like 20 minutes just to come around. But like it worked out because we were literally shooting in the middle of the street. I had one of my other assistants using one of my cameras, acting as paparazzi. We had hired a model to come in and act as your security guard, right?
Yeah, everyone's like DMing me like, who is that dreamboat? It's like 6'+ man in a suit.
He's like 6'3", I think. Yeah.
Oh my God. And he just has this, aviator sunglasses, like the look, exactly the security guard look. And then I had someone that I had brought
Shout out to
day.
Classy Max. You can
Classy
find him on
Max.
Insta.
Yeah. Let's do it again, Classy Max. Make a good team. And then I had hired someone to come take B-roll footage. So you're shooting us and there's 2 to 3 extras in the shot with me, and then she's taking video. And the whole theme was like that I'm famous and the paparazzi are chasing me on the street.
And we even noticed, and we didn't realize, there was actually a theater and lights behind her. And there was like this really awesome car had pulled up too. And I was just like, oh, we're using the whole thing. Yeah. And people were literally asking, they're like, who's that girl? Like,
they literally thought I was a celebrity. They thought that they were stumbling upon someone famous.
They did.
Getting out of the car. And I am. They did.
I know. And then we like even moved, when Brianna got there, we moved to the car and we literally just like pulled over in the valet and we were just like, you were like popping in and out of the car. Like it was just such a cool shot. Honestly, I think we even had that in the Pinspiration that we did, and it's even better. It looks even better in real life.
And can we let's talk about the collaborative creative process, because part of my growth, and then I would love to hear from you, like the growth that you had to go through to like come to this moment. But I had to let go of a lot of people pleasing, and I had to also like embrace what I really wanted and stop judging it. So for example, it was your idea to have a car in the shoot, but what you first started pulling up was like this convertible vintage car, kind of California vibes. And I didn't love that idea. I looked at that.
No,
I was like,
good. I was glad that you're honest. And I always say that. I'm like, please be so honest with me. And you're like, I'm not really feeling it. I'm like, okay, but then what about this?
Yeah.
Like, what can we shift? You're like, but I really love Philly and I really love being here. And I'm like, well, what could we play with that on then?
Yeah.
And what else? Yeah. So go ahead.
I am the queen bee, a people pleaser. So like that was a big moment for me. And it's not to say like I feel really comfortable and I trust you, but even so, it's actually sometimes harder to be honest with the people who you love and care about. So even in that moment, I still had to feel some discomfort to advocate for myself and say, no, that's not quite it. Because a past version of me would have absolutely gone along with that. I can guarantee it.
I'm so glad that you didn't. And it's for me, one of the things I always try to stress too is like, what is it really? Like, tell me truly and really, because it's not going to hurt my feelings, because these are just ideas. And not every photographer is like that. I'll be honest. Like, there are some people who their creative direction feels like their heart and soul.
Yeah.
And so, you know, everybody's a little bit different, but there are like photographers out there that are very open to this. And my philosophy in this experience is making it about you. So that is very important to me. And that's why even a lot of the questions that I ask are usually geared like, okay, what do you want? Like, what are these things? They're very specific too, so it's not so broad, because I know as generators, we need to be offered examples.
Yes.
Like, please give me an example of what this is, and then I can either say yes or no. But yeah, so I love that you shared that. And I also always hope that people feel comfortable. But I think that goes back into like talking about how we've built that trust over time too.
Yeah. Like, is that a fluke that we just gelled? Like, how can you like develop this relationship? Like, I think you and I just like gelled from the beginning. Like we just like, you know, recognized something special in each other and connected from the beginning. But it does make it such a more like a deeper, more fun experience. We were talking about that before you hit record, like how much fun the photo shoot day was and the whole process leading up to it. I knew I wanted to style it, but I was like, hey, can you come over to my house and style it with me? Like, we had every step of this process has been absolutely delightful.
It's such a good point. I'm thinking about it right now, and I think I don't want to give myself too much credit.
No, please give yourself the credit.
I don't want to give myself too much credit. But I think if you're trying to establish a rapport, for me, it's really important to like make people feel comfortable, make them feel like they can share and be open. I think that's a big part of it, and to be open to it myself, if that makes sense. And I think some of that is in the secret sauce. So I'm not really sure, like that's just part of it. But I do think that is like in part of the process, working on it collaboratively, doing it more than once, right? Because the first time you do anything, you're going to have the experience. You're going to be like, wow, that went, I love this part of it and this part of it. I'm like, you know, like I could definitely do that differently the next time in a good way, you know? But I think like there's definitely like having a strategy, having a process. I mean, obviously, I love you, and I think this has been awesome that we've gotten to get connect and do this. I know I'm like, am I doing it this way? I'm like doing the heart on camera. I'm like, how do I do the heart? How do the kids do it these days?
We're making there's a new one, but I don't know how to do that one.
I don't remember. I forget what it is. I'm like, what are these? I don't know.
No, this is the millennial way. Yeah, we're trying
millennials.
Yeah, we're millennials. We're gonna do the millennial heart.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I want a better answer for that, Sarah, and I honestly don't think I have it. I think it's just about listening, being open to the experience, and trusting, and that comes with some time, you know? And I think it's like easing your way in, too. Like the first shoot we did was smaller, right? It was smaller, it was more condensed, and that's okay, because it was like testing the waters. Like, does this work? Does this jive? You know, you're not going to work with every person and be like their best friend, you know, or like they're even close at all, you know, and that's okay. But like some people you will connect with, and you just kind of learn that over time and just nurture the things that matter to you. Yeah. Stay connected. Ask them what's up.
Well, and that all comes from you starting by being connected with yourself. Like I just wrote down, be awesome and trust your gut. Like you're awesome, I'm awesome. And we just trusted our gut. Like, yeah. And it felt good. So we kept doing it. But yeah, I think that's, you know, I had some critiques of myself after our first photo shoot, like, oh, I want to work on like my face. It's really hard for me to relax my face in a photo shoots, and also like the evolution of my wardrobe. But the only thing,
taking the sunglasses off.
Taking the sunglasses. That was the first thing I said to you for the shoot. I was like, don't let me put my sunglasses on.
For the whole shoot.
For the whole shoot. I was like, the last shoot we did last year was so fucking good, but there's like 3 photos where I don't have sunglasses on. So, and that was growth for me too, because I use them kind of as a shield.
Yeah.
I crushed it this time, didn't I though? You did not let me put them on.
I was like, we did not put them on until we got to the hotel room. And there it was just like fun and it made sense and it like added to the story. But it wasn't like a protective layer.
No. And it definitely was last time. And that all comes from, again, the same theme of trusting myself with the decisions that I was making of like how to pose, what to wear, just all of it, just trusting myself and allowing myself to enjoy it and just have fun.
Yes, progress over perfection.
Yes.
I just had a call with somebody earlier today, and I just said to her, look, progress over perfection all day. You're not going to get it right every single time. Perfect does not exist. And so it's a growth process. So it's like, okay, this is a little uncomfortable for me. And maybe would I tweak some things? Sure. I mean, I'm a photographer by nature, and I'm like, did I look okay in that photo? You know what I mean? Like I know how to pose. I know how to work a body. You know what I'm saying? Like I know what to say. I'm like, okay, we got to shift this. We got to move this. We got to tilt this.
Which by the way, I just need to shout out that you do that, because Nichole will like, she'll be taking photos of me and then she'll put the camera down and like literally act out what she wants me to do. And I'm like, can you just come up here and do it? Because that looked really good. And I have worked with photographers who didn't do that. So I will say, like, when you're choosing a photographer, ask those kind of questions ahead of time or watch for that during your first shoot together, because the fact that you help me, you give me direction is really helpful.
Oh my God. And it makes a huge difference. Yeah. I've heard that before from other clients I've had too. They're like, I really appreciated that. And I appreciate it. I'm like, I need it, you know, 'cause you don't have a mirror in front of you. We're so used to instant gratification of just like looking at our phone and being like, that wasn't it. And then just doing it again, or like being in a selfie mode, like that. We need somebody to be like our mirror for us and tell us like, you know what, that's a little off, but you know, in a very compassionate way, like always with compassion. And I think that's part of it, leading with compassion, knowing like, hey, like I remember when I was pregnant, I think we did a shoot last year when I was pregnant. I was like on the floor. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm down here.
She was literally down, and you're a yogi. So you're like down there like 10 times more flexible than I am.
Which is not true at all. You were a dancer. No, your leg was like in the air for this last shoot. And I was like, damn girl, your leg goes like that.
No, that's true for this shoot. This shoot, like I hadn't picked up dancing yet for the last one. So you're like on the floor, pregnant, like doing all these things. And I was like, oh my God, it was amazing.
But also I was in my head, I was like, I am messing this up because I'm so pregnant down here trying to get this right. But no, it worked. And honestly, like I said, it's like having fun, being in the moment. Because also a lot of times I'll get somebody into a pose and then we'll play from there. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, actually, you know what? I got you in the pose, but this looks cool. Like, and it's not always about just like being so posed either. It's about like, okay, cool, having some principles and then like, you know, playing a little bit. Yeah.
And you know what I noticed for myself? Like, I really value your direction. So keep doing that. And also this past photo shoot, like you would be taking a bunch of photos and then you would be looking at them and then glance up and I would just be like hamming it up. I would be doing something like really dramatic and you would be like, oh my God, stop right there. You would like, take a bunch more pictures. And that came from me being willing to be like more playful too, right? And not just waiting for your direction. Like
have fun. I love that. Like I love to see that when clients are like coming out of their shell. And that usually happens like when we first get there, I always joke like those first like 5 to 10, 15 minutes, like we're just easing our way in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like honestly, that's why I really don't do mini shoots, because I feel like so many people, like it takes them a little bit to like let their guard down and to really get into it and to really get that full self-expression of who they are out of that little shell we're hiding behind sometimes.
Oh my God, it's so true.
Yeah. And I'm like, I want to see you. And like that lights me the fuck up when I'm seeing you. I'm like, oh, this is good stuff, you know? And I'm like, she's going to be so happy because she's going to see herself in this, which is the whole point, right? Like you need to see yourself in it because then other people are going to see that in you. And then they're going to be like, I want to work with her. I want to be in Sarah's world. I want to, be part of her mastermind or understand what it takes to have the audacity to do that. Like I need that energy in my life. And, putting you in a navy blazer behind a desk isn't going to do it. That's not Sarah. So I think it's all part of it.
So I'm curious, like we talked about my growth that I had to go through, my expansion. Yes. What about for you over our 3 shoots together? Like are there things that make you nervous or uncomfortable or feel like uncomfortable emotions that you had to let yourself feel?
Yes. Thank you for asking. These are questions I never get. So
I know. But I'm like, if I'm feeling this way, you must have been experiencing something like this too.
So I go into every shoot and I still get jitters before every single shoot. They used to be much bigger. I used to like get like almost like full body, just like, oh my gosh, because I feel like I'm performing. I feel like it's as much as, you feel like maybe you're out there posing, I'd be like, I need to be there in it with you. And so there is an energetic exchange that happens. So I think, my audience knows this a little bit. I mean, I just had a baby like 8 months ago. I just talked about being pregnant, rolling on the floor. So yeah, there are definitely moments of like, oh my gosh, I need to get my energy up. Like I didn't sleep well last night. What am I going to do? How am I going to get through this? It's raining, how do I want to handle the fact that we had planned to go to park? And is Sarah going to be upset for me to be like, you know what? I really don't think we should do that. And it's like, how do I handle those situations? And in the past, I think those may have caused me a lot more anxiety. And I have gotten to this point now, I have a jar on my desk as my accomplishment jar. And so whenever I start to feel these levels of like, I can't do this, I'm incapable, or start telling myself those stories, which definitely come up for me, the doubt, the fear, I tell myself, hold on, Nick. You've done some shit in your past. You're pretty good. You're very resourceful. You've done some things that, you never thought you could do. And here you are. And then I, put on my big girl pants and I say, okay, I got to go handle this. A good example was Park, because I was like, oh my gosh, is Sarah going to be upset that like we can't go and do part of that shoot? And I'm like, well, how am I going to handle that? And I was like, all right, I'm just going to tell her what's real. And I was like, what's real is it's raining. It's really not going to give us the results she wants. And I was like, I'm going to give her a better option instead. We're going to bring out a spotlight and we're going to spend more time in the studio. And those photos are going to be looking just as great. And if we really need to, we'll pick another day and we'll go to Park for those images. And it turned out that like we really didn't need it. Plus like it would have probably been impossible to get to Park for the reservation in time anyway.
Oh yeah, and for everyone, if you guys are wondering, Park is a really beautiful French bistro that's on Rittenhouse Square in Philadelphia.
Thank you for adding context.
Yeah, our plan was to go from the studio to the hotel where I had booked a suite, and we were going to do the paparazzi shots outside and also some shots inside the hotel room, and then we were going to walk over a couple blocks to Rittenhouse Square, and we had a reservation outside at the French bistro, but it was pouring rain, which by the way cleared up right when we went out to do the paparazzi shots, and the
which
light
was fabulous.
Oh my goodness,
it was golden hour.
It was golden hour,
perfect golden hour,
and no rain. It was so perfect. So this is the other thing too. Like we both know how to roll with the punches, and there were things like that, hiccups during the day, that just were not stressful. We just were like, okay. And I believe, and I'm pretty sure that you believe this too, that it's either this or better. And honestly, like the paparazzi shots that we ended up taking were so much better than the storyline we had planned for Park anyway.
Exactly. Also, I've definitely evolved. Even going back to the original question is, how have I grown? I think before I used to be really attached to an outcome, especially when I was first starting out. And I've been doing this for like 7 years now. I realized that the best result is like you just said, it's like this or something better. That's why I always talk about the inspo board. It's this or something better. Like you're going to create something like this, but it's going to be your version. It's your edit, your story, your era. So it's reminding myself that that is expansive, that like, as long as I'm there showing up, you know, in it with my person, who's ever in front of me, like that's what matters the most. And we're going to create some stuff that may even be even better than what we originally planned, which we did. So I think it's just, yeah, like that trust. I have to say it to myself. I have like mantras. I was like, trust, Nick. You got to trust it. You got to have faith. Like that's where that feminine flow comes in. Cause like a lot of it's masculine, you know, where you're prepping, you're pulling stuff together, you're getting stuff organized. Like I'm coordinating with people in the back end. I'm always like, is my makeup artist going to get there? Is my bodyguard showing up? You know, like are my assistants good? Cause like we had a team and that was something I never had before. That was something like,
oh wait, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like I had a team just starting last year. That was my first year with the team.
Oh my God. Was the shoot that we did, was this like your biggest shoot ever? Or like what was different about the shoot?
Probably one of my biggest. I've done some other big things. Like I went to Cancun for a shoot and I was there for like a week and that was really intense. Yeah, that was cool. And I worked with like a videographer there. And then I did another sunrise shoot in Mallorca in Spain. That was really cool. But this was probably, as far as complexity goes, is probably one of my most complex shoots with the most people that I've needed. Yeah, to support it. But I'm project management certification. So I'm like a PMP certified. So I'm like bringing out my stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm a problem solver by nature. So again, it's like reminding myself of all these different facets to me. Like I'm not just a photographer.
Yeah.
And I think saying that to you, like for yourself as well, as we all go through these experiences, like it's not just being a coach, these parts of your life too that you're capturing and your expansion there, just your growth as an individual and showing up and being this inspirational person for others. Yeah, there's so much more to all of our stories. So
absolutely.
We just pull it all in and we use it all. Yeah, it's a little bit of a rant, but
I love your rants. That's why we're here. That's why we're here for the rants. The Nichole Howard rants. I want to say one more thing about the team. Like we did not quote unquote need such a large team. You brought 2 assistants. We had the makeup artist with us almost all day. I brought an assistant and then we had the actor who played the bodyguard.
Yep.
Part of the reason we did that is because I wanted a lot of people, especially at the studio. Like I wanted that vibe and that attention and that like feeling of like we're doing something big and important, and I wanted that energy in the hotel room, for example.
Yes.
I remember having that realization right when I decided to book this shoot with you, that I wanted to have a big crew there. Yeah. And you were immediately on board with that. And I had to get over some like, who the fuck do you think you are, Sarah? Like, you're not that important to have that big team with you.
I have an associate photographer. I have assistants under my team now. And I loved having all those people there. It made some of the things that we wanted to do possible. With expansion, I think we actually had this moment in the hallway when you first arrived to the studio and we were joking because traffic happened again.
I was late. No surprise.
But I booked more time in the studio this time and I told them in advance. I was like, I need more time because
Sarah's going to be late.
No, I was like, I just want to make sure not Sarah's going to be late, but things happen. You learn from past experiences and then they go smoother. So then when that happened, I was like, cool, it doesn't matter. So, you know, and we were walking to the bathroom and we both kind of acknowledged like, wow, like, look at us. Like, look at us doing the thing, you know?
Yeah. We were walking down the bathroom like the superstars were, and we had like our entourage that was unpacking things for us.
Yeah, like taking care of everything on set. And we're like, cool, we're just gonna go take care of ourselves real quick and then walk back. And bless them, they were amazing. Every person on shoot was incredible. And that was so important too, like in my hiring process, just to like add a little snippet on that, is like, I wanted to make sure I had like hype women on my team.
Yes.
Because that is so important. Like, I don't want to have anybody bringing in the bad energy.
No. And that's all we had. It was like the energy was so positive and so fun. And you were even sharing with me that like the team was expanded.
They had a great time. Yeah, they had a great time. Like, I literally was texting them afterwards, like, that was awesome. That was so much fun. Like, I saw some of them like getting into it. Like when we had like my one assistant acting as paparazzi, and then like Classy Max just like holding her off, and he was just like, what's happening here? She's really getting into this. And then you're like, what do I do? I'm like, be unbothered. And you're like, just like unbothered walking past.
Like, I think I tapped into the unbothered vibe a couple of times, but then also I was like, but I love my adoring public. And I was like blowing kisses to the camera.
I was like a little bit of both. It was just like the perfect combo. I think like unbothered in the sense of like, okay, like this is just what's happening right now. This is who I am. Okay,
this is who I am. I love it. Well, I know that we both have to go pick our little ones up. I have to pick my kids up. But can you just quickly give us one mindset tip and one strategy tip for someone who's booking a branding session?
Okay, great. I feel like this is on the fly. Okay, mindset tip. Take on a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset all day. You are capable. You can learn. You can do this. We are talking about, we have evolved over, you said you've had 7 shoots. We've done 3 of them together, right? So you can't compare your first steps to our 7 steps. But if you get with an expert strategy who knows what they're doing, who can support you in the process, you're going to be way more successful than trying to do it your own or trying to do it with somebody else who's new, right? Like I see a lot of people being like, well, my first shoot, I'm doing it with, the student over at, this X, Y, and Z school, which is totally fine. I get it. Sometimes that's what you need to do, but make sure your expectations are aligned on what that's going to look like. Then you know that you're going to have to do more work on your end, most likely, to come up with the style ideas, right? Like you wanted to style your shoot. I also have a stylist should like somebody need it. I have hair and makeup team, right? Like you use my hair and makeup team. They were there for you because again, these are questions people have had for me over the years. Those 3 things come up all the time. Should I get my hair and makeup done? What do I wear?
Yeah.
Like every single shoot, every single time. It's good questions because they matter.
They do matter.
Impact the final photos. So as far as strategy goes, know whether you're going to be supported or whether you're going to have to do that work yourself and take on a growth mindset, believing that even if you don't think you're photogenic or whatever, that you can learn. All the stuff can be learned and you can hire somebody to support you in the process so that learning goes faster and you get better results.
Yeah, there's so many things I want to share in the show notes of this episode, but I'm going to drop in a photo from all of my photo shoots over the years so you guys can see because
I love that.
Was absolutely an evolution. So I'm going to answer my question too. I loved your answers and I love the reminder to not get caught up in perfectionist tendencies and just like have a growth mindset. Like do the best you can now and you're just going to grow and evolve over time. So what I want to remind everyone of is that you know what you like. You know what you like your hair to look like and your makeup and your outfits. You have opinions. Let yourself have them.
Yes.
You have opinions, you know what you like, let yourself have them. And my strategy tip is hire someone to come with you to at least take B-roll footage of you. That was the best. Like I had someone helping me get changed and like all the things, but even if you just have somebody who's going to come take video of behind the scenes and you're going to be so happy that you have that footage and have them mostly take video.
Yep, I have that too on my team, should you need it. But also having somebody take your phone, I think what's cool about that is she took your phone and just recorded on your phone, which I think was a great idea.
Yeah. Also, you're really good at this too. Have a killer playlist.
Yeah, we collaborated on that too, which I love. But I always make a custom playlist. That's like one of my questions. It's like, what songs get you hype, And I make a custom playlist based off of that. Because again, we're just elevating the music, the energy, all of it on set.
It's a whole experience. It's so much more than about just the beautiful, epic branding photos that you'll have at the end of it. It's also about who you become and the fun that you have in the process.
Yeah, and the confidence it instills in your brand. And the fact that you're doing this big thing for yourself, for your brand, you're showing up. That in of itself, you're committing. And the universe notices that. And the people notice that in return. And then that then also influences how you show up in your business. Which is really, really huge.
It does.
So huge.
It magnetizes people to you.
Hands down magnetizes people to you. And it makes it easier for you to magnetize them to you because you have the photos then right in your phone. You have the content right in your phone. There's no excuse for, I need to record today. I need to go take a selfie. None of that. No. You have the pictures right there. So
you're ready to go.
Yeah.
All right. I got to go get my kids from school.
I got to literally go get my daughter. Okay, bye.
Okay. I love you so much. That was so fun.
It was so fun.